a sensational picture of the members of Roxy Music playing guitars behind him. I note we welcome on his birthday the tremendous Dave Collins. Dave, welcome.
Hello,
thank you.
Dave.
Very nice to see you.
Thank you. Pleasure.
How are you doing? It's your birthday today?
It is, yeah. I've been up for a while, and sort of, there's not much you can do on the lockdown birthday. So
been up for a while, so excited.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
This is 10 in the morning. We're talking to you, isn't it? Yeah.
Just stay at home and play albums. So what could be better?
Oh right, perfect.
So that's what I'll do. I'll probably spend the day just locking down and just dropping the needle and playing a few albums, really. So
are you in kind of lockdown then? Where are you, in fact?
I'm in Westcliff, so I'm set halfway between. We've got Lee-on-Sea next to us, that side, and I've got Southend-on-Sea, that side of me. And straight ahead is the seafront, about 20-minute walk down to the seafront there.
I've got fond memories of Southend. Going there and going to the Hall of Mirrors on the pier. I wonder if it's still there. Probably not.
No, it burnt down.
It burnt down.
It burnt down in the 70s. Yeah, the pier burnt down, but the end of it did.
No.
And then at the early 90s, the bowling arcade at the front end burnt down. So, but it's a bit like it's
not suspicious in any way. Is it?
No, that's right. No insurance claim.
This is not the heritage of of Southend.
Yeah, exactly. So, but we don't go that often. But yeah, we've got sort of Zoe and Dylan around the corner here.
Right.
Oh yes, of course.
He's just up the road there.
Do you know them?
Yeah. We used to see Zoe and Dylan quite a bit before lockdown.
Because they're trying to sell their flat via Twitter, aren't they?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
It's not an easy business, I'm sure, but I'm sure it's a very nice flat with a sea view.
It's a fantastic flat.
Have you got a sea view yourself?
We've got sea glimpses, I would say, from if you stick your head out at a difficult angle from the top of the
sea
top
glimpses.
Of the loft.
That's an estate agent expression,
yeah, exactly.
Isn't it?
So, but if you walk to the top of the road, you see the sea and you look across to Kent, so it's lovely.
Right.
Fantastic.
And the train station.
I see pictures of Zoe and Dylan's place. I can smell the salt and vinegar coming from the seafront. It's fantastic.
The weirdest thing is the foghorns. They sound so close when the foghorns go off. It sounds like they're outside your house.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If you get a foggy night, you'll hear the foghorns. I don't know why they still have to do it because they've all got sort of sonic and digital sort of mapping and tracking, but they still do the foghorns. And it just booms through the night. It's quite soothing in a way.
That's interesting. Does a foghorn still sound like a foghorn always traditionally sounds?
Yeah, exactly. They haven't changed it. They haven't like your sort of fire engines or your ambulances. No, it's still the traditional foghorn, and it booms and cuts through.
Here's a rock trivia question for you both, because everything is grist to our mill on this. As you know, which classic psychedelic album begins with the sound of a foghorn over the sea?
Is it?
Mark Ellen will know.
I know a newer psych one that's got it. I know the Dukes of Stratosphere.
It's not a Steve Miller Band record.
Go on.
And it's
which one is it? Obviously.
Well, I'm trying to think whether or not it's one of the later big.
No, it's one of the early ones. No, it's Sailor.
Sailor, that's right, Sailor.
Because the story goes that Steve Miller, at the time in the kind of enthralled to Sgt. Pepper and concept albums, decided his next record was going to tell a story. It was going to have a story about a sailor who goes off to sea, goes around the world, and comes back, and so forth. And he told this story to Glyn Johns, who produced him.
I remember this, that's right.
Glyn Johns is nothing if not hard.
Very diplomatic, that's right.
Glyn Johns, who's the man who famously said to Pete Townsend, "Tell you what, Lifehouse, let's not bother with that. One album, who's next?" Okay, good.
Yeah.
Really good decision. And he said to Steve Miller, he said, yeah, all right, I'll fix that.
We'll come back to that, yeah.
What he did was he just put the sound of a foghorn right at the beginning of the record. That'll satisfy your conceptual needs. Right, now get on with it.
Get on, make a decent record. That's right.
I'm going to check that out today. I'll make a point of checking that.
Yeah, it's a good record.
Do you know, I've got a bit of Southend Stackwaddy if you fancy it.
Yeah,
go on. Yeah, lovely, of course.
Yes. So these are venues that are no longer with us.
Oh, right.
Oh, very good.
There's five, and one is the Ringer.
This is Southend we're talking about.
Southend.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll go through in alphabetical order, yeah?
Okay.
So we've got Blues and Roots. We've got the Esplanade, the Fickle Pickle Club, the Studio, and 06.
Well, the studio is not made up because it's not exciting enough to be made up, I think. Fickle Pickle, was that?
Yeah, Fickle Pickle. Do you want
That
me to go through
sounds
again?
real. Go
That's
through them
real.
again.
That's real.
Right.
That's real.
Blues
Go
and
on.
Roots, the Esplanade, Fickle Pickle Club, the Studio, and 06.
I'm
It's
saying
Blues and Roots.
Blues and Roots. You're saying
Blues and Roots. I reckon it's that one.
Go on,
I don't
go
know
on.
why. Is it?
David?
well, I would say Esplanade is real, surely. Studio's real. So, all right, I'll go with Mark. I'll agree with Mark.
Yeah, you got it. Good work. Bang on. There we go. Double whammy.
Because it's the best name of all of them,
Do
actually.
you know what it is? It's an amalgam of the Blues, Southend United, and Roots Hall.
Oh, very good.
All right,
Very
of
good.
course.
But the Esplanade was a big seafront pub, a big long pub on the seafront. It's a bit of a sort of an elevator venue. It's where bands played on their way up or their way down.
Yeah.
Right.
So you had Pearl Jam did their first UK gig there.
Oh, amazing.
And Steve Marriott did some of his later gigs. What else we got? The Fickle Pickle. That was a folk club where Bowie did his first visit to Southend.
Amazing.
About 1970. The Studio was where Donovan was discovered by Peter Eden.
Very good.
When I think Peter Eden was looking after Cops and Robbers at the time, and Donovan shipped in to do a gig. Peter Eden clocked him, and that was it. Off they went, and that was just down the road from here.
Now, remind me, Cops and Robbers. Go
They
on.
were a South End band, sort of like a bit of a part of the sort of, who was it before Procol Harum?
Okay, I think gonna stab at this. Hold on. Oh God, the Paramounts.
The Paramounts, that's it. Poison Ivy,
Yes.
part of that scene. Yeah, so Cops and Robbers.
Did they win a Ready Steady Go beach competition?
They might have done. Yeah, they might have done. I'm
I've
not
got
sure.
a funny feeling
That's very good knowledge.
Yeah, but Cops and Robbers, and yeah, so Donovan came in. It's probably about a 20-minute walk from here now. It's probably a block of flats, but that's where he kicked off, where it kicked off for
Is
Donovan.
the Fickle Pickle still there?
No, the club's gone, but the
Is the
building's still there.
still there?
The Cursel's still there. Yeah,
Is
do you
it
know?
really? What is it now? Is it still a venue?
It wasn't a venue. It was a functions and sort of bits and pieces. But it's closed down, so it's in danger. No one knows what's going on with it now, so we won't see. But yeah, Dr. Feelgood did their Down by the Jetty gig there. Or
They did. All
coming
those
back
famous
home.
pictures of them there. Yeah, exactly.
And AC/DC, Let There Be Rock. That's actually taken at the Kersal as well. So we got Angus on stage, all the clouds open above him. That's at the Kersal in Southend.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and then what was it? 06. Here we go. There's a badge there.
Oh, God,
There you go. I
06
think that
badge.
it was a bit of a gigs there. Diamond Head, Dr. Feelgood, but it was a bit of a jazz funk club in the 80s. It was big with a sort of white sock, white stiletto crowd. All that sort of like
The white stiletto.
It was on the same circuit as the Southgate Royalty and the Crazy Daisy. Was it Crazy? Where was it? In Ilford?
Ilford. Lacey Lady.
Lacey.
The Lacey Lady. No, the Crazy
Lady.
Daisy was the Human League
Yes.
one. You're
Yeah,
thinking of the
that's
Lacey Lady.
Lacey Lady and Epping Country Club.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Chris Hills
Chris
is your
Hill.
DJ for the evening, and we will climax with doing the rowing dance
Exactly.
to the Gap Band's upside your head.
Upside your head.
Chris Hill, he came for the gold mine in Canvey. He used to do, do you remember seasonally, Disco Santa? What, those cut and paste records on Ensign?
So what happened to him?
He's still around. He made a fortune out of the Boomtown Rats. He had Ensign Records.
Oh,
So-
was he a partner in that?
Yeah, an Ensign. So he used to put these dodgy Christmas... Yeah, he put these dodgy Christmas records out called Disco Santa. He'd cut and pick little chop up bits from singles and through the year and sort of drop himself into them. But he started up Ensign, so he had two massive hits with Don't Like Mondays and Rat Trap.
Yeah.
So that was his out of the
So he was a kind of star DJ before there were star DJs, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, it was one of the venues that you'd get sort of coaches of London, of people from London coming down to. When there was so much going on in London, people would ship out to the gold mine or Crocs, as it was.
Crocs
at
Rayleigh.
Rayleigh. Oh, I've got some stories about that.
Names are just imprinted on your memory from listings.
Exactly.
Sit at a typewriter in the smash hits office, transcribing press releases, listing the dates of the next tour by the Vapors or whatever.
That's exactly what it was.
Those tours always began. Do you know where those tours always began?
Was it in Norfolk?
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
No. Redford
Cromer.
near.
Right.
It was the West Runton Pavilion.
Oh yeah, West Runton Pavilion.
Right.
And I happened to be up there. It is near Cromer. It's on the road into Cromer. And I happened to be up there a couple of years ago. It's no longer there. But that was always the first gig on everybody's tour because it was near enough to London to get back that night. But it was
far enough to make sure critics couldn't be bothered to go.
Travel out.
No, because what you didn't want was a load of critics at your first gig who ironed out all the problems, saying they're a bit shit, and that's what's got to sustain you through an entire national tour. You know?
Crocs was a regular haunt of mine. I started there. I used to go there in '79. I used to go to the junior discos. I used to do on a Friday night, about 7 till 9. So I started going to Crocs at about '79, and then it became the Pink Toothbrush in the '80s.
Oh, see, I love that. That's a feature in itself. Actually, is when clubs change their names.
When venues change their names.
And become there was a pub around the corner from here called the Crown and Scepter that became Bogart's. In about 1972.
Yeah.
They started selling kind of bright blue drinks with a kind of plastic red monkey hanging off the side.
I remember those at Camden Palace. They used to do those upstairs in the bar at the top. They used to do those sort of things with little plasticky bits hanging off the side. But Pink Toothbrush was they jumped the wrong way in the early '80s. Just as the indie scene, it had been Crocs at this massive sort of. It was the only sort of indie place or alternative place in the area, and it jumped in about '83, and it went in to try to compete with Tops, which was a big Southend and 06 jazz funk venues, and of course no one was interested. So 6 months later, they had to backtrack, and they got a mate of mine, Paul Tunkin, to sort of come in and DJ there, and it went back to what it became, doing all the sort of '80s back, the goth stuff during the '80s. It was the indie crowd, long sleeve t-shirts in the early '90s. So tons of bands played there. I saw loads of bands play there.
So who plays there? What's the venue down your way nowadays?
You've got two. The Railway in Southend is the big one. You get loads of live bands playing there. It's Wilco's local. You got a good chance of bumping into Wilco's always there when it was open. Right. So I managed to sit in with him a couple of times and have a couple of sort of jams with Wilco, which has been good fun.
Brilliant. What fun.
And then the other way, you've got Peggy Sue's, which is a really great.
You machine gunned the audience with your guitar.
I had to keep out the way because he's so lively when he's on stage. Yeah. So those are the big places. We don't have the biggest lineup, I think, there, but it was a combo. It was Earl Slick, it was Slim Jim, and it was Glenn Matlock all together playing at the Railway.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah, good lineup. So, but of course, it's all off the menu. It's all stood off a cliff now, isn't it, with lockdown? So,
yeah.
But do you want me to show you a couple of bits?
Come on, let's see them.
What have you got?
What I've got here, I've always been a massive books fan, records fan, been a collector and avid for years, but comics as well. But I won't do too many comics. But I've just got this one here. It's a bit of a cultural crossover. Batman tapping into the Paul is Deadness.
Paul is dead on the cover.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Batman investigating Paul is dead. Yeah.
Wow. There are the Beatles. That's amazing.
Well, it's a mock-up. It's a mock-up of the Beatles, but you've got. If you can see on the front there, you've got the Dead Till Proven Alive album cover.
The Clue is on their album cover.
Yeah, one of them is dead, but the Clue is on their album cover.
Oh, that's great. So what date is that? That would have been.
I think this is 1970, 69, 70.
So it's round about the time. Wow.
But here we go. And there's a bit easier to Word.
Oh, yeah. And there it is.
And there you go, at the bottom there.
Oh, right. I remember this now.
That's me.
I think I might have commissioned that.
You did. That's right.
I did.
I sent a bit in about, have you ever seen this? He said, can you give me 250 words on it? Oh, so I did. But it popped up a couple of weeks later.
Oh, that's lovely.
So I've got a couple of rock stars in unlikely places. Here we go. Ipswich Town football programme.
All right, go on.
This is Ipswich versus Liverpool, 77 season, 4th of December. There's a full-page ad for a band in the back. Any guesses?
So this is an Ipswich.
Give us the
Ipswich programme.
Ipswich programme versus Liverpool, 4th of December, 76.
Well, good God.
Yeah.
I mean, is it a local gig listing?
No, it's a full page. It's a full-page advert for a band.
Full-page advert.
Yeah, in the back.
Any in the Hot Rods?
No, shall I show you?
Yep.
Go on.
Oh my goodness, I would never have got that.
The Sex Pistols, Anarchy in the UK.
Incredible.
In the Ipswich Liverpool programme for 76.
Has that been bought by EMI?
Yeah, they must have done. Yeah.
Has it got an EMI logo on it?
Yeah, EMI 2566 in the bottom right there. There you go.
Jesus Christ, that's extraordinary.
I know. Look at that. I think there's an Aston Villa one where they've got a half-page feature in it, but and then it's nuts, isn't it? And this one here, that's such a Malcolm McLaren idea. That is.
I'll tell you what, the real kids are the kids going to football,
on the terraces. Exactly.
They're the people who are going to buy Sex Pistols records.
No, but
to some extent, he might have been right.
He might have been right because those were the days when you went to football, you took your life in your hands.
Exactly. That's right. Exactly. Yeah. You're right.
Ultra violence.
And we've got a bit here. This is a more recent one. This is a Marvel comic, Deadpool on the front there. But this was being done just after David Bowie died, and the artist managed to sneak in a little tribute to Bowie.
Oh God!
There you go. You can see him there. That's in the final video Bowie did. So you got a little.
Oh right.
Well, that's very subtle.
Yeah,
I would have missed that.
Yeah, I only stumbled across it by mistake.
So, do you live surrounded by comics?
They're all tucked away in safe places, mostly records. Yeah, because some of them are so valuable now with the way the sort of Marvel films are taken off. It's so mainstream. You look at something like the early Spider-Mans or Batmans. You go, I think first Superman went for about $1 million recently, or Batman.
No.
Oh yeah.
$1 million.
Yeah.
For a copy of a magazine.
But if you look at the first action comics for Superman, that was what, 1930s. So to have a good one of those that's sort of nearly 80 years old is almost, because they were read by 11, 12-year-olds, so they're all thrown away.
All thrown away.
Yeah,
that's right. So always the things where there were a lot of them, but they're easy to damage that became valuable.
Exactly. So all that, I mean, if you first Spider-Man, you could be looking at thousands for that. So they're just the high profile so high. Yeah, they're good investment. If you want to invest in something, look at vintage comics.
So when did people start collecting stuff like that?
I would say way back in the 60s. You've got Jonathan probably peaked in the 80s. I used to do the rounds in the 80s. Where is it? Forbidden Planet on Denmark Street.
Right.
And certain shops that were down back alleys. But if you bought, it's those old things. I should go back to the 80s with the time machine. All those comics that were a fiver now are probably worth $5,000. Because they
Jonathan Ross is a huge collector, isn't he?
Massive collector. So yeah, exactly. Yeah.
If only the same thing would happen to magazines. We'd be made.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
I know I've got tons that are depreciating in value every day.
I don't know. I think they might start coming back, creeping back.
For certain ones. I've got a collectible here. This is one. This is from. This is. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Who's that?
This is Toni Basil After Dark.
Oh no! Toni Basil.
This is a New York sort of attitude magazine.
Yeah.
For the gay
here's the pop quiz trivia question for you. What famous film does Toni Basil appear in?
Go on.
With Jack Nicholson.
More than one. She appears in two.
No.
Oh, God, did you not know this?
No, go on.
Okay. If there's a scene do you know the famous scene in 5 Easy Pieces?
Yeah.
Where he's in the cafe and it's kind of hold the mayo, hold the chicken between your knees. That one, where he has the row with the waitress because he wants a certain type of sandwich. Well, the girl sitting opposite him in that and joining in the conversation is Toni Basil.
Toni Basil, would you believe it?
And she is also the girl in the trip sequence in Easy Rider.
Oh, yeah.
Because Toni Basil, was and is a kind of major Hollywood scene maker. Toni Basil did the choreographed the dancing for the Tammy Show.
Right.
Rolling Stones 1965, James Brown, all that stuff. And she was everybody's mate. And so she was in these kind of culty films. She was kind of part of that Dennis Hopper, Peter Fonda group. Long before Mickey.
Yeah,
Mickey. Because Mickey was it when we were at Smash Hits. About 1984 or 85. I can remember being slightly suspicious of her because she seemed so old. She was something like 34.
Yeah, that ancient age.
How could that be right?
Like Debbie Harry.
I like Debbie Harry. Everybody else is only 22. She had this incredible life that you knew nothing about.
An influence on an album cover as well. Do you know what album cover?
It's going to be a Bowie one, is it?
It is.
Which one is it? There's a Bowie one that looks exactly like that.
Yeah, there is a pose like that.
Yeah.
Young Americans.
Oh, yes, absolutely. That's really good. Very good.
So when does After Dark date from then?
This one here, which is Shirley Bassey on the back, this is, September 74.
Oh, right. So it is, yes.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. See, I think magazines are, in an odd way, I'm clearly not going to. I'm not going to make a case that they're going to make kind of Marvel comic type money. But do you not find, Mark and Dave, that we're now coming out of this period where you just got absolutely used to having everything at a click away, and that's exciting in itself. But very occasionally picking up something where you have the serendipitous experience of just flicking through and, oh, look, there's that next to that.
Yeah.
There's that advert. And is now so rare that it's really quite exciting.
That's the thing. I love it. I've got it's the adverts that are the seller.
It's the adverts.
Dave and I did a bit of this on the podcast. We used to go back and get old kind of copies of the Melody Maker and things, and that's it. It's the small ads.
It's the small ads. Yeah.
It's the little clothes. And the gig listing, obviously, but it's the clothes that people wore at the time. You know, if you look at those smash hits things, you know, it's the kind of it's the snoods. You know, it's the big girls' blouses that New Romantics were wearing. And the little pixie boots. That's the stuff that really...
The tucker boots, yeah, that's right. Duran loved, of course, it's the T-shirts, and the posters that are advertised in the back. I've got a bit here, actually. This is a band I was in the early days.
Oh, go on.
And you can see here, this is, if we go here, it's the gig listings on this page. So this is a band I was in the 80s, 84, 85 this is. Look at the date on it. 85, here we go. Glam rock band, very much in the Justin Quirk territory of things.
Oh.
There we go.
Killers.
The Killers.
Aim for the loose notes.
Did you say you were in that band?
I'm in the middle.
Oh, that's you.
It's me in the middle, yeah.
With the clean shaven, oh my goodness, that's amazing.
Yeah, the chap with the quiff on the left, Terry, he's a professor now at Leicester University, especially in diabetes. And Paul on the right went to start Blow Up Records.
So you were in a band called The Killers long before?
Ladykillers.
Oh, the Ladykillers, sorry.
Oh, God, yeah, unfortunate name, Ladykillers, yeah. But
that's not such a good name.
You're not doing that now.
But this thing here, look at the night out, the sort of...
Oh, the listings.
The listings.
Oh, wow.
Raquel, Sweeney's, Pink Toothbrush, 06.
Oh, they're all there.
Fantastic.
All there, pages and pages of it. Look at that.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
What was your high? What was the Ladykillers' high point?
Oh, it would be gigging with, we just all the sort of Essex circuit, and we played the Toothbrush quite a bit, but we did 2 gigs with Zodiac Mine.
Played the Toothbrush.
Yeah, well, Paul was the DJ there. So our singer Paul was a DJ, so he was quite easy to get gigs, but we got a couple with Zodiac Mine they were amazing. Zodiac, do you remember that? Here we go. There's
Slam Thunderhide.
Slam Thunderhide, there we go.
Yeah.
So
Cobalt Stargazer.
That's the one.
Remember all their names.
We did a gig down the road with them at a local hotel, and it was with the Medics, and the Medics were on the bill, Doctor and the Medics, and they just got big. They just got to number 1 with Spirit in the Sky. So it was pretty rammed, and we were going to get bumped up the bill because Zodiac hadn't turned up, and they showed at the last minute and sort of just blew the whole place away. They were fantastic. And then we got another second gig with them about 6 months later. It was insane. It was like, we did the sound check. It was like Altamont meets the Muppet Show. It was incredible. You walked in, it was just full of like cartoon roadies, these greasy greebos. This atmosphere was like heavy compression all around the room. And everyone just looked smudgy. All the band and the roadies, they looked like they hadn't seen a damp flannel or a decent night's sleep since the start of the tour. They were just so grubby. And it was just
Can you remember any song titles? Any Ladykillers song titles?
Oh, God, yeah. Ours, we had Who Wants to Live in New York City, which was ripped off.
The answer to that would be everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
We
were quite anti-American at the time.
Yeah, clearly. I don't think that would have gone down very well. Yeah.
Exactly, that's right. And In the Village, I think I've got here. You know, you want to hear about the demo tape being sent off. There's one of our demos.
Oh, right.
Oh, yeah.
The sort of thing you send off to record companies that they send back with a polite letter. So
I'm assuming you've had a reunion. Every group has a reunion.
No, we haven't. No. We meet up. We meet up from time to time, but no. But I still do bands. I play in a band called Blues Brew that do sort of old school R&B, jazz, sort of bluesy type stompers with sax. And in a heavy sort of power trio, sort of very much Cream, Humble Pie, the Who type stuff called Howling Black Soul. Yeah, so I'm still
called what? Sorry,
Howling Black Soul.
Howling Black Soul.
That's great.
It's
That's
all vintage equipment, no pedals, all pure tone. So we just crank it through there. Yeah, very loud.
Howling Black Soul.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
brilliant.
very loudest band in Southend, we like to say.
I like that idea. No pedals. It's like no additives.
It
is pure.
Pedals
organic.
Pedals of cyclists are the phrase.
Yeah. No pedals. No gimmickry.
Yeah, no pedals. So,
but for real.
Do you want to? I'll show you a couple of early singles.
Yeah, come on. What you got?
What we got? This is the early ones were Tiger Feet, Mud, and all that.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, I love it. Still stand by it. It jumps out the speakers.
It does.
Yeah. But the one that really got a hold on me, and that I'm still buying now, are 12-inch singles. And this is the first 12-inch of Edwin Starr Contact.
Oh, right, that's good. Lovely. Yes. What a lovely sleeve. And a star above the eye. That's
and
great.
He's got the price on there. Kelly's Records, £1.45.
Oh,
nice.
So,
but a lot of money in those days.
It was actually, yeah. It was 3 times my weekly pocket money, 50p. So it took a bit of saving up, but it felt quite adult at 12, 13, buying a sort of 12-inch single.
Yeah.
But, and I've kept. It's the one thing I've kept collecting is 12s ever since. You know, and it's a sort of format that's endured all the way through the 80s. Look at the smash hits here: Soft Cell, Spandau, Human League, fantastic 12 inches. They sort of did, you know. And
I could never get. It's my failing. I'm sure I could never get attached to a 12-inch single.
Oh, I love it.
I couldn't either. I like the edited version.
Oh no, I
really like it. There was no 12-inch single I preferred to the 45 version.
No, the soft sale ones with all the extra bits in the middle, fantastic.
Oh, right.
The extended edition where you could sort of, you know, it's like the widescreen version. I used to love those, and the whole sort of disco thing. It took over. It was so massive.
Well, that's where the record companies made all their money in the 80s. They got a lot of their money because I think they charged something like £4.15 for a 12-inch single in 1983, and their profit on that.
The people that got on board the disco, the Stones. Roxy.
Definitely.
Who's this? Johnny Guitar Watson.
Yeah.
Right.
Johnny Mathis.
Is that Johnny Guitar Watson's "Ain't Love a Bitch"?
That's a real mother.
Oh, right.
Real mother.
Have you ever looked at the cover of "Ain't That a Bitch" recently? That's the cover you wouldn't get away with.
I'll check it out. And then Petula Clark.
Describe roughly what
he's sitting on a couch with a couple of dogs. And it says, basically, you'd have to look at it. I
will check it out.
Yeah, have a look at it. Sorry, Petula Clark. I missed Petula Clark. What was that? She was a 12-inch single of Petula Clark.
She does.
Oh my God.
I'm Not in Love, a disco version of I'm Not in Love by 10cc.
Oh, no, it's incredible.
If you haven't heard it, check it out.
Looks like Julie Andrews.
Oh, it's that 80s, it's the Barbra Streisand perm, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Petula Clark was much older, almost a different generation from the rest of that gang, wasn't she?
Oh, completely.
Considerably older than Scylla and Dusty and all that lot.
Oh, God, yeah. Petula Clark.
About 10 years older, I think.
I was in, she's a child star, Petula Clark.
Yeah.
So she's in the Huggets films, which were made in the late 40s, early 50s. She plays the young daughter. And I was actually at BBC a couple of years ago, Wogan House, as they call it nowadays, Radio 2 place, sitting in reception, and in came Petula Clark. That's a genuine legend.
Real legend.
Yeah.
She's done. She was a big star long before the Beatles were ever thought of, you know, and those hits, you know, throughout the 1960s, and she's kept going. You know?
She has,
absolutely astonishing.
She used to have did she have to have a show in BBC in the 70s as well? It's one of those sort of Saturday night things.
Well, everybody did.
They all did.
Every solo singer, Tom Jones, Scott Walker, they all did that.
Cliff Richard.
Richard, Dusty Springfield, anybody, and it always finished with the star sitting on a stool next to the guest.
Doing a duet.
Yeah, doing a duet. Yeah, exactly.
Do you know this one? You know.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, you have it now. See if I can pick it up. You know.
Do you fancy joining me in a song and sort of improvising it? And of course,
absolutely.
The thing I love about the disco thing as well that stuck with me is Rod Temperton. Temperton, who wrote all the songs for Jackson.
Yeah.
The bloke who started out in Cleethorpes,
absolutely,
went on to sort of take over the world in the 80s with those songs. You know, it's just brilliant. And the great thing, when he wrote Thriller, that he was asked to sort of supply a rhythm for it that wasn't 4/4. And having spent time in the working men's clubs and dance bands, he just worked on the conga. So the Thriller sort of is based on the conga. You know,
Really?
yeah. If you think of the rhythm of Thriller, it comes out of his time spent in the working men's clubs.
I suppose
it started with a title, didn't it? Because when he turned up, when they started working on Thriller, one of his ways of doing things was he just turned up with a notebook and he'd just have scores, if not hundreds, of titles. Just write down titles of songs. And
it's the way Morrissey does it, I'm sure.
Quincy Jones looked down the list, saw Thriller, said, Thriller.
That's it.
Because that's a star title. Yeah, I can see it on the marquee. You know,
it is.
It's like Jaws, you know.
Yeah.
And then it all went from there.
There's a couple of his demos on YouTube. They've got him doing Rock With You on YouTube. And his singing is terrible. He can't sing for Toffee. It is terrible. He's all over the place. You have to sort of draw a line through the middle of where he's going to work out what he's singing. But it's out there. It's all like everything. It's all out on YouTube if you fancy tracking it.
So he came from Cleethorpes.
Cleethorpes. I think he worked in the Ross Frozen Foods factory.
Oh God! You see that's truly the birth of pop. That is, you know, that if you're working at a fish factory in Cleethorpes, you're dreaming of.
True.
A different
fish
world.
factory.
Ross's frozen
processing,
fish finishing,
gutting fish.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's right. Yeah, exactly.
My God, you got some incentive to get out of there.
I know, and then to end up sort of, you know, writing all those songs, and just a million sellers right through the 80s. So good luck to
not with us anymore, is he? He's not.
No, he died
about what, 5 or 6 years? No, it was when we were just at the end of Word, actually.
Yeah.
I can remember trying to get a Michael Jackson. We tried to do an obituary for him. Yeah.
Oh, he's amazing, but he always kept in the shadows. But his timeline through the 80s just stunning. The stuff that he did.
I'll tell you what else I've got here as well. Look at this.
All the good stuff, all the T-shirts, the tickets that I've got. They went. I haven't got many of those left, so I binned those off because I didn't really archive things. And once I'd worn them, and cut the sleeves off them, they went. And the bits I have got, most of them are shoved in the loft, tucked away. But I've got a couple of other bits. I've got this here. Look at these. These are Radio 1 calendars.
Oh my God! Okay,
we test Mark Ellen's theory.
Go on.
I did it a theory, but when I worked at Radio 1 for a while, standing in for various DJs, they told me this brilliant fact, and it was that if you're a Radio 1 DJ, you're terrified of the arrival of the calendar, because if you get a call saying, would you be the January, February, or March person? It means your contract isn't very secure. But if they want you to dress up in kind of tennis shorts,
Santa Claus,
and have a beach, have a beach ball or some athletic biking gear or something like that, then you're pretty much okay. If they want you to dress up in Santa Claus outfit, you're absolutely going.
You're made in the shade.
They can't sack you for the next year. So it's usually Pat Sharp who's January.
Here we go. Right, this is 79 and 80, so we're early on.
Mark Page will be February.
January is Noel Edmonds.
Oh, okay. Was he on the way out? I don't know.
I think he was doing his Sunday morning show around then.
I think he was. So my theory has been rather.
But these things, they started out as just diaries, but by the sort of calendar entries, by the end of it, they're full-blown diaries with all entries of things happening, trips away, holidays, school punch-ups. All sorts of swimming trips.
Oh, so you kept a diary there?
Yeah, and you can you can see at the time the Chaz and Dave single Gertcha. I thought it was pronounced Urcha, so you can see I've just put all these speech bubbles for Urcha all over it on the side there. So who have we got? February's Tony Blackburn.
Well, my theory's gone right out the
The first 3 months I just
still there.
Nothing apart from going to discos all the time. But Simon Bates. There's your March one, and it goes through. Peter Pan coming in November.
Where does Peel appear in it, I wonder?
Peter, I think he's in the summer.
Yeah, he was usually on a bicycle.
Annie Nightingale. Here we go.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. Paul Gambaccini. Here we go. Peel is in August.
Okay.
Right.
So we got.
Tell me, Dave, what moved you to buy a Radio 1 calendar rather than a football calendar or a Glamour Girls or whatever? You say, no, Mum, I want a Radio 1 calendar.
I used to listen to the radio all the time. I was obsessed with the radio.
Yeah.
But I thought there wasn't a lot of merch around in those days. You could send off for stickers. or stuff like that. And it was the only way of getting a bit of merch. So I wrote off to Portishead, Bristol, I think it was, and got me calendar in for a couple of years.
So which programs did you listen to? Was that daytime or nighttime or both?
Oh, Peel, definitely Peel.
Yeah.
You can sit through these calendars. I go from listening to being a bit of a disco kid at the beginning, getting into punk halfway through, and at the end of it coming out all new wavy. And I put them online about 10 years ago. I put them on a blog I do, Planet Mondo, and once a month I put an entry up with the records bought that month underneath it, so you can sort of track the change through a couple of the bits. Yeah, these are a couple of bits that I bought while I was doing the calendars. Randomly, do you remember Magic Michael? He was a sort of,
yes.
He was one of the sort of Magic Michael. He was one of these sort of people like Jesus who always at festivals at the Roundhouse.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah.
A
bit of a
audience member.
Yeah, audience member. He did a single with the Damned.
Good God.
So there's Magic Michael. This one here.
That's rare, surely.
My cousin was friends with Nick Salomon, Bevis Frond, best friends with him. And this must be one of his first singles that he put out as the Von Trapps. But what's good about it, it's almost 40 years today, inside.
The Von Trapps?
The Von
Trapp family?
Von Trapp family.
Well, that's the one that's got Muriel Gray in it, isn't it? She was in a band called the Family Von Trapp. Is there a picture of her? No, there isn't.
No, she's not there. No, these were sort of North London band. It was Nick Salomon, and inside it you've got the press release.
It's always a good thing.
There you go. Look at that.
Oh right. Okay.
It looks like a lineup from the Sweeney, but it's actually it's the band.
Jeez. Yes.
15th of December, 1980. Got on there.
Yeah.
There we go. So Palmer's Green and Walthamstow, most of those came.
Brilliant.
Palmer's Green. No, it's near where I am now.
Oh, is it?
What are you doing for the rest of the day, Dave?
Probably, not playing records. I'll do that. I've got your book, David. That was given today with the plate inside it. So
very good.
I'll start that tonight. But probably playing.
So you're literally bunking off for the day.
I've got it booked. I work for the NHS. I have done for about 18 months now.
What fun!
Yeah, I know. What a time to join, isn't it? Sort of in the middle of COVID.
In what capacity?
I do all their IT for them, so sort of migrated from Windows 7.
I do
all the IT for the NHS, and you can still afford to take a day off. That's impressive.
A lot of IT out.
Yeah, I do. So I do IT for the NHS.
So are you the guy at the end of the phone, goes, just have you tried turning it off and turning it on again?
When I started doing this 30 years ago, it's two rules of IT that still stand true. One is turn it off, turn it on. And he's had to check the cables. It's always one of those.
Fair enough.
And I must use that.
And here's my bill.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I turned the meter off after that. But
I love the idea that you're the guy doing the NHS.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll be based.
He's off today.
Yeah, it's his birthday.
That's it,
The whole network's down. I know, but it's a big day for him. He's doing wood in your attic as well. So
you got to get your priorities, haven't you? You got to get the priorities. So, but I'm back tomorrow at Romford Hospital doing what I do there. So,
so
that's really good.
Breathe again tomorrow.
You can.
I did get a phone. I got a phone call this morning saying, "Where are you?" They were panicking. I hadn't told them I was in. I hadn't told a couple of them that I was in, so they were panicking. So I'll be back to that tomorrow.
Well, we hope you have a lovely day.
Thank you.
We traditionally wind these things up by getting people to tell us what's the greatest record ever made. And I'm confident you've got a contender.
I've got a greatest compilation of all time.
Good.
Goofy Greats. And it might sound a bit bizarre, but if you look at
don't know that one.
If you look at the track, 10 years, 7 of 10 when I got this, you've got Bread and Butter, the New Beats, you've got the Wild Thing, the Trogs, Surfing Bird, the Trashmen.
Oh, so it's silly records that happen to be great records.
Yeah, exactly. What was framed at the time as novelty: Rockin' Robin, Boney Maroney, Good Golly, Miss Molly, Muleskin the Blues.
I haven't thought of Bread and Butter by the New Beats in I do not know how long.
Do you want to see the track list?
It's called Goofy Greats. That's fantastic.
I want
Birds
that.
and Bees.
Do you know
that sounds really good.
Do you know how Bread and Butter goes, Mark?
Judy in Disguise with Glasses. That's a great track.
Guess what I mean? They're all great. But Bread and Butter. Go on, David. How does it go?
I like bread and butter. I like toast and jam. I'm my baby's sweet something. She's my so-and-so sweetheart. I'm her loving man.
Yes, exactly. You're right.
I like bread and butter. I like toast and jam.
Yeah.
Toast and jam is really odd in an American record because jam is not an expression.
Not an expression that they have.
Is it jelly?
It's jelly.
That's right, jelly. Yeah, you're right. But there's. I mean, this would have been at the time it was framed as a bit of novelty, but they're actually just really good garage records, great rock and rolls, and bubblegum. And of course, you've got
that's a really great record.
Alley Oop by the Hollywood.
Who else have you got on there?
You've got Larry Williams. You've got what have we got? Pretty Little Angel Eyes, Curtis Lee, Birds and the Bees, Jewel Atkins. A couple of dodgy ones, Mr. Custer, Simon Says a Nice One, Cyril, but Mony Mony.
Mony Mony can't go.
Nice One, Cyril is on there.
Nice One, Cyril's on there. But then
nice one, Cyril. Nice one, son. Nice one, Cyril. Let's have another one.
There we go. See, yeah, exactly.
It's funny how you remember they're like TV ads. These
and then even you got I think the Cramps covered Surfing Bird, Muleskinner Blues. Elvis did it, didn't he? Luke, who was it? Yeah, Alley Oop by Hollywood Argos. Look at that Caveman Go, which was nicked by Bowie.
Brilliant.
But
that's a great choice.
That's not the greatest album. That's the greatest comp. But here we go. No, I kept trying to think. No, it's too obvious. I've got to push it out of the way. But it just kept.
Trying to think what era you're going to go for.
It kept elbowing its way back in.
Oh, well, fair enough. Why not? I mean, we've had a couple of suggestions of that before.
It's quite good.
It is quite good.
You know what?
Paul is dead. I don't want to break it to you.
Of course it ties in. We've done the loop. We're back to Paul is dead.
We've done the loop.
I don't know if you saw. We did a Word in Your Attic with Kosh, who's the guy who designed this.
Yes, I saw it. Yeah,
and he pointed out to us that he's the person who made the sky bluer.
That's brilliant.
So it was a nice day, but not quite as nice as that.
It's really interested in me there because I thought that was a recent thing. I thought that was kind of an Instagram thing. You just hit a button and everything looks really, really blue. But no, they were doing it in 1969.
I started out doing photography. That was when I met a few. When I got into bands and met the band guys I was in a band with, and you remember burning it in. We used to do something. If you did a sky, you'd actually get up at the top and then lighten it. You'd actually, in the dark room, get a piece of paper and expose it slowly as you went down. So the fade went from dark to light. You pre-Photoshop.
Amazing.
This is definitely the one, though. I mean, I love it. It's just such a solid album. It's all four corners.
Phenomenal. I weirdly, I think it's the most playable of all of them. Actually, I don't know why.
I drifted into it. I love the White Album. I love Beatles for Sale.
It's just the most playable. Everything on it is wonderful.
And even with the sort of short attention span aside too, it's still sort of it's relative, sort of contemporary.
It's also the perfect. It only struck me on its anniversary. It's also the perfect symmetry.
Yeah.
Of our last album. The last thing we did for that album was go outside and have our photograph taken, walking away from the studio.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And also, it's a cover that gives exactly the same amount of weight to each of the four of them.
Yeah.
Each of them it occupies 25% of that concept, and I think that's really interesting. There's nobody singled out for any special treatment. Nobody's near the camera.
It's just, and it's sort of one of those great, all the best music, it'll give you the best of times and it'll get you through the worst of times. And this album does that every time. It's just sort of fantastic. I love it. And like I say, every there's no wobbly legs on it. Every opening, every ending is all there. It's solid. Yeah. And that medley on side 2, of course, it's fantastic. So I love it. That's a brilliant.
Oh, well, you won't get any argument from us.
You can get stuff you get little internet things that have versions of that medley as it was originally planned, which has Her Majesty in the middle of it and all the original things and the extra bridge section to Mean Mr. Mustard. And it's funny how you hear those things. They just seem so wrong,
It's just the way it's clipped off at the end of side 1 and Majesty drops into the side 2, but McCartney's run in the middle there and Ringo's drumming. It's just perfect. I love it. Yeah. And I'm not so fussed about the remasters because I want to hear it as it was. When I bought a couple of remasters lately, like I think Crosby, Stills and Nash, they just sound compressed to death. There's no room for anything to breathe.
Yeah.
Whereas you play the old version alongside, everything's where it needs to be. Not all pushed out the front. So I love it. That's the one for me.
Well, have a great birthday. Have a great rest of day.
I will do. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
And, it's been nice talking to you.
Lovely talking to you.
Have a great day.
I will do. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
And many of them.
Lovely. Thank you.
Cheers.
See you soon.
I ain't gonna say